I think there's going to be a lot of pressure over the next 4 years for state regulators and local permits and entitlements, all the stuff that we go through as developers. I think a lot of that stuff will become 10 times easier to build, and land developing is going to be the thing. I think the only way to solve housing affordability is not lower interest rates. It is to build more shit. And so what do people need is they need more land. And so you guys in here learning how to do land, you guys are going to be the richest sons of guns in the investment world. Everybody's going to wish they were in land.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Only Land Fan Show. My name is Kendall Lejeune, and our guest today is Pace Morby. Author, investor, community builder, and co-host of A&E's top-performing show, Triple Digit Flip, Pace Morby has acquired over $450 million in assets without cash, credit, or previous credentials of his own through creative financing. From general contractor to owner of over 20 active businesses, Pace has transcended the world of entrepreneurship and now teaches and inspires entrepreneurs all over the world to make an impact on their lives and the lives of those around them. Pace, thanks so much for joining us. How are you today?
Kendall, what up? I freaking cannot stop thinking about the logo and the name of this show. It is so genius, bro. I don't know who came up with it, but it is freaking genius.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. It was a brainchild of mine, and I said, you know what? Let's run with it. And
Oh
I
yeah,
appreciate
so
it.
good.
Pace, I've wanted to have you on the show literally since I came up with the idea for this podcast. So I'm so excited to have you. It's fitting that this is our 100th episode and you are our 100th guest. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Dude, that's such a big accomplishment for people that don't understand how big of a deal that is. 87% of podcasts never get past the 21st episode. 87%. Then in order to get into the top 1% of podcasts in the world, you have to hit your 100th episode. So congratulations on being in the 1 percentile, bro. That's such a big deal. Congratulations, dude, you're a badass. That's awesome.
Hey, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. It's a labor of love for sure. And I'm just so thankful that I get to hang and interview incredible people like you. So excited to have you on. So Pace, so many know you from Triple Digit Flip, from your Sub2 and Gator brands. But how did you get started in doing land deals specifically? Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, actually, you have a guest on here. Her name is AJ. You introduced her before we started recording. I had an AJ in my back pocket when I first started. And you guys have no idea how lucky you are in 2025 to be getting started in real estate with resources like an Alicia, or AJ, as you guys call her here in your guys' meetup. I found an AJ 11 years ago. And here's the cheat code that I had. So 11 years ago, I was a contractor. I had basically been lying to myself and lying to everybody else for 7 years. My wife, my friends, and everybody else. I'm going to get started in real estate. I'm going to do deals. I'm going to do my first flip. I'm going to do this thing that they're calling wholesaling. And meanwhile, I would just basically wake up every day and work 7 days a week on other people's projects as a contractor and running my own crews and all of those things. And I made good money, but I just never had the leap of faith. And what changed is I had a woman come into my life that taught me how to tap into what AJ does, which is all things lead gen. And the cheat code that I had was obviously somebody like AJ that would generate my leads for me. But the other cheat code that I had was that I was really good at talking to people because I already had experience running a construction company. And so think about this. This is what a construction company was to me, especially when you now look at it in conveyance to, or in comparison to, real estate investing. So as a contractor, I'd get an inbound call. Somebody would call off my website or a referral or maybe Instagram or something along those lines. Yes, I was on Instagram 12, 13 years ago. And what would happen is people would say, hey, can you come by, take a look at my house and give me an estimate? Cool. I wasn't the only person that was going and doing that, right? I wasn't the only contractor going and giving that estimate. So I would go to the house. Sometimes I would wait in line, literally, for one contractor to leave the house so I could be the next person in to do the estimate. And what I would then do is go home, run the estimate, submit the offer for the construction project, and I would either A, get the deal, or I wouldn't get the deal. And most of the deals I got were because I followed up and I built rapport. And so for me, when I hit the ground, like I got an AJ that started, this is January of 2012, I got my first 20 leads. I spent money on direct mail. I had no idea what I was doing. But when you have somebody like an AJ, you go, hey, AJ, I want leads. I don't know what the hell I don't know. And AJ would say something like, I got you. I know where to send the mailers. I know what to do. I know where all the top investors are going. Literally, I found an AJ that was able to do that for me. And I was already driving around the city going on construction estimates. So what I would do is I'd get these inbound leads and I would squeeze these inbound lead appointments in between my construction estimates. And for me, wholesaling land or flipping land or developing land, I've developed 700 homes in my life. It was all the same exact thing. I would go to the house, compete with other wholesalers or other investors. I would have to build rapport, follow up. And I learned what I was really good at was just being in the living room. I loved it. To this day, I miss it. Last year, we bought 1,000 doors. This year, we'll probably buy 500 doors. And sadly, I go into the living room maybe once or twice a year. But my favorite thing was doing what AJ talked about before the show started, which was her job is to keep people like me in the living room to buy more deals. And it was actually really easy for me. I hate to say it, but it was really easy for me. Once I found where leads came from and all I had to do was become friends with sellers, holy crap, this business has gotten so, it's a very simple business. Find leads, become friends with the sellers, work out deals, make money.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you were doing contracting work before. Obviously, you had experience with houses. What was that very first land deal look like? Do you remember the sort of like the story behind that?
Yeah, my first land deal was a wholesale deal and I made $19,000 on it. And the guy that I sold it to turned around and made $80,000 on it. So he wholesaled my wholesale deal. And what ended up happening is I had no idea what I was doing. So I get a lead, inbound lead, seller calls me up. He goes, hey, I got your mailer, want to get an estimate on my land. I go, no problem. So what I did is I called a friend of mine that I had no idea how to value land. And I would say that is probably the trickiest part of land is because there's so many different uses for land that
Yeah.
dirt is not just dirt, right? It's location, zoning, all the things that you teach, obviously. And so I had no idea, right? I would say comping land is probably the best superpower that you can have in being in land, because imagine if you are good at underwriting land and just comping land, you could literally go to every wholesaler in the country and go, you run into land situations, I'll comp it for you, but just bring me the deal. Right? That's all your lead generation you need if you're good at underwriting land. I didn't know how to underwrite land. So I went to somebody that did, and he goes, yeah, lock it up at 20, I'll pay 39. I go, no problem, I got you. I go lock it up at 20. I wholesale it to him at 19 for a $19,000 rip. He turns around. I didn't know this at the time. I didn't know how to he was essentially not double closing, but he was doing a blind HUD. So essentially making so the title company wouldn't show me that he had wholesaled the deal. They would omit things on the final settlement statement that I would see an edited version of the settlement statement. So I had no idea that he had wholesaled it. Here's what happened. The buyer ended up calling me up and going, hey, my name's Tim, and I just want to let you know you're a dumbass. F you? Who the hell are you? F you?
Right,
What are you talking about? And he says, dude, I paid $80,000 above the guy that you sold it to and you made 19. And I was like, I still don't know who you are. I'm the buyer on this land deal. And I could have bought this for $40,000 less and you could have made $40,000 more if you just knew who I was. And so that was my first land deal. And I go, I don't know how to value land. And so this guy ended up becoming a really massive resource for me. And I would go to him and he not only became an end buyer for me, but he also started introducing me to all his other land developing friends because birds of a feather flock together. And so I started, every time I ran into a land deal, I made an agreement with him. I said, if you let me wholesale a deal through you to your friends, I'll pay you a flat fee of $3,000. And so instead of me paying $80,000 or losing $80,000 on my land wholesale deals, this guy would just take a flat $3,000 and wholesale all my land deals. And then at that point, once I got that resource, I just started doubling down on land leads. I just called my AJ and I said, hey, AJ, give me more land leads. It's crazy about land because it seems like it's such a blue ocean. Even though you're teaching and you guys have this tribe right here, guys, nobody's doing land. Like it seems like in your world, people are doing land, but the thousands and thousands of people I talk to, I'd say 1% of 1% of people have the guts to go into land. And so kudos to you guys for finding this amazing blue ocean.
That is huge. I love that. And I love that you just said that because I can't tell you how many times people reach out and say, Kendall, don't you think that land is saturated now? You've got all these people coming in. I'm like, saturated is compared to what? So it's
Yeah.
fantastic that you shared that with
Nothing, and by the way, guys, nothing's saturated. Let's be honest. Human beings are lazy pieces of shit. Let's just be honest. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I imagine I can cuss when you got a podcast name called Only Land Fan.
Ace, you can do whatever you want to do, my friend.
So people are lazy, right? So even if I go to, I just spoke in Washington, D.C. to 3,500 people, right? I opened for Marcus Lemonis and I are hanging out backstage and having a conversation. And he says, hey man, we get into this thing. And he goes, what are you going to talk about today? I go, dude, if I could just, Marcus, if I could invent a pill and that pill I could hand it to everybody in the audience and all that pill would do is get them to go home and do one shred of action, even sit down and take notes and journal what they learned. Even that shred or that little micro action, oh my gosh, I would solve every problem in the world. Nobody takes action. He goes, yeah, we've ran numbers on all of our events that we find less than 3% of people leave these seminars that they pay for. Less than 3% actually go home and do anything with it. And then even in the 3%, it's even crazier. And so the reality is just because people are talking about getting into land doesn't mean anybody is actually doing it. Like the people that are willing to be consistent for a week in something are literally 0.001 percentile. So let everybody talk about it. In fact, if people are talking about it, here's how you keep a blue ocean. Okay. If I'm in land and I'm pissed off that these little knucklehead wholesalers are starting to get into land, I would go, come on in, baby. I have the magic key to unlock your treasure box, which is I understand how to underwrite the land and find the buyers. And so what you should do is just build an army of these knucklehead wholesalers that are going to do one or two deals and then go quit, move back into their mom's basement. And you can go pick up, guys, I'm telling you, I think there's something like 100,000 wholesale Facebook groups on Facebook, 100,000. Go into those
Crazy.
Facebook groups and just go, if you guys need somebody to help you underwrite land, I'm your guy. And you post that a couple times a week in Facebook groups, you will never have to generate another lead as long as you live, as long as you know how to underwrite land and find buyers. That's a whole business model. You make $500,000 a year just doing that.
Calling all ambitious land flippers, ready to transform your business with proven systems and processes? Imagine this. One of my students recently closed 2 land deals and got another under contract in just 24 hours. That's the power of a well-oiled land flipping machine. My exclusive coaching program is specifically designed for action takers just like you. We'll build out your entire operation from lead gen to dispo, implementing these systems on real deals from day one. But hurry, I'm only accepting 3 new students until 2025. If you've done deals, have a growth mindset, and are ready to scale, visit kindlecall.com now. Let's turn your land business into a consistent profit powerhouse. Man, that is huge. Talk about just actionable stuff that you can do. I love that. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant. So Pace, what role does land currently play in your business model and your portfolios? What types of land deals do you guys specialize in now? Are you still wholesaling or what does that look like?
No, I don't wholesale a lot anymore. I primarily buy and hold, and I'm so allergic to developing at this moment in my life because I develop so much. Developing is amazing. People really love it. But then when you start scaling, you just go, am I really built for this? There's very few people that are built for it. Probably one of the baddest ass human beings in the real estate space, Ken McElroy, one of my mentors, they're building 3 projects right now. And to him, it's like putting on a pair of shoes. For me, I'm just not there yet. With land, what I'm doing a lot of right now is I'm lending a lot of money on land because I now understand what the biggest challenge is with these developers is the capital. And so if you guys ever want to collaborate with me on stuff and you have a buyer I can't close on this on time, hit me up. Okay. Email me. My email is pacejmorby@me.com. Email me. I will fund your shit. Okay. So I have a deal I'm doing right now where a guy is closing on a piece of land. He has a contract with D.R. Horton. Wholesaler found the deal, sold it to this developer. The developer's got a contract. He's got the whole thing up and going. They essentially got a 12-month due diligence period with the seller, right? Essentially a novation or a seller finance with no payment, a silent seller finance, essentially, right? And so the 12 months comes due. The seller's like, all right, it's time for you to close on the property. I need to get paid. Like, you guys should have done your entitlements. You should have done this, da, 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 da. Okay, great. No problem. The lender for the project is bringing $16 million to the table, and they're going to bring in this loan to go do this development. And guess what happens? Freaking lenders in Florida. And what happened in Florida a couple months ago is you had this crazy hurricane and this, that, and the other. And so everybody evacuated in this lending office up to Atlanta, Georgia, and nobody could do loans for a couple of weeks. So I come in, I go, what do you guys need? And they go, we need $1 million to close right now. I go, I got you. And I go put $1 million in, I cover their loan, and then the lender comes in and I make $300,000 in 11 days. So for me, I'm the weirdo that will come in and fund land, especially when Pace J Morby, guys, Pace J Morby. It looks like G. I know I'm a gangster, G unit, but it is J. Pace J Morby at me.com. Email me if you guys ever need loans on land. I do that. I'm not actively wholesaling a lot anymore. My main thing is I'm acquiring pre-existing assets that are already cash flowing. Like right now, this week in East Texas, we're buying an RV park and something that's already making $25,000 a month in net cash flow, not in revenue. And so I'm going after those types of things and then primarily lending on land, because I think, just to be honest with you, 700 projects in development is like getting kicked in the nuts 7,000 times. And I just don't think I'm built for it, to be honest. I think other people are. And so I found what worked for me was just lending money on land and then helping other people find buyers for their land. So people will come to me and go, hey, this is a really good one. So I have a buddy, when I was a contractor, Invitation Homes. I don't know if anybody knows who Invitation Homes is, but they ended up doing an IPO and rolling into BlackRock. And my buddy, his name's Tommy Stapley, has $2 billion just to buy land to go and develop RV parks and mobile home parks. And so what happens is a lot of people will come to me and go, hey, I have a piece of land. I need somebody to find a buyer for me. I'm like, I got you. And I'll bring those deals. And so I will wholesale when people bring deals to me, but I'm not actively going out and looking for land other than lending on it. And I feel like I'm missing the boat, because honestly, the golden age of land is going to be now over the next 15 years. This is the golden age of land, my friends. Whether you hate him or you love him, Trump is going to change the game for land in the biggest possible way. You've got government regulations are coming off. You've got all these BS things that are going on. They're going to, even Doge, I don't know that Doge is ever going to touch this, but think about on the state level, what will happen is leadership trickles down. And what they're doing with the federal government, I think in state regulations and how slow it is for people to get entitlements and permits and all that kind of stuff, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure over the next 4 years for state regulators and local permits and entitlements, all the stuff that we go through as developers. I think a lot of that stuff will become 10 times easier to build. And land developing is going to be the thing. I think the only way to solve housing affordability is not lower interest rates. It is to build more shit. And so what do people need is they need more land. And so you guys in here learning how to do land, you guys are going to be the richest sons of guns in the investment world. Everybody's going to wish they were in land.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. So, with these upcoming changes, and I completely agree, I think that we are about to enter into this age of opportunity. What do you think are going to be some of the biggest opportunities that people can capitalize in the land space? Are there any, you mentioned RV parks, things like that, but are there like niches that you can think of that you're like, I think this could hit really hard?
Yeah, so here's what I find. I find obviously birds of a feather flock together. This is what's really fun too. I get to loan money. So when you're the money guy, everybody wants to know you, right? So
Yeah.
this guy that I loaned this money on for this DR Horton track that he had, I then go, hey, I'll even give you a cut on the rate. I know I made 300 grand, but he was in a really bad situation. And I had to be in second lien position to make this whole thing work. I was in a risky situation. I did make a lot of money, obviously, but I actually gave him a haircut. Like I gave him a cut on the rate. And what I said to him is I said, hey, if you can introduce me to 10 of your other buddies that are also building. Why? Because they all golf together. Right? He's going to trade shows. He's going to this. He's going to equipment shows in Vegas, and he's meeting other builders that are getting contracts with other national home builders. And so I think the biggest play on my side is I want to be the guy that's lending on those situations for me, because I don't have to find the deal and people will call me. That's a good feeling. But the other side of it is this. I think people are missing out on the creative leverage that they really have. So think about this. The wholesaler that sold the deal to that DR Horton guy, okay, the developer, He just made an assignment fee of 100 grand. Okay, bro, this guy's going to go off and make $5 or $6 million on this development over 36 months. So like what you sold yourself short on an assignment fee. And I know it's a big rip, especially like when you're brand new to wholesaling real estate or wholesaling anything. To make $100,000 is like, holy smokes.
All day. Yeah.
But what he screwed up on was the creative leverage of saying, I'm okay going down. Think about this. This is what he probably said to the developer. I'll sell this deal to you, but I need to make $100,000. And it was like he was reaching for that $100,000 with some little bit of desperation. But what if he went to that developer and he goes, I got four, even if he didn't, he says, I got four other developers looking at this. Some of them are willing to pay me $100,000 and give me some backside equity so that I can be part of the project and watch how it goes. And I can actually get a chunk of money at the end. So if you're willing to have that conversation, I'd be willing to sell you the deal. But if not, I'm just going to sell to one of these other guys. Even if one of those other guys doesn't exist, that third party story that does the negotiation for you. I called this wholesaler up, this young kid, and I go, bro, you sold yourself short. You could have probably made an extra $300,000-$400,000 on the back end. But that's not the cool part. The cool part is you could have sat there and watched what this guy did for 36 months, and you could have been on the project every week, and you could have driven by and made YouTube videos and built credibility, and like you could have leveraged this thing, but you sold yourself short for $100,000. So what I would argue and fight for you guys on is think a little bit more creatively. They're going to make a ton of money. And if you're willing to wait for the back end equity, and you say, I can participate, I can stop by, I can send you photos, you can really leverage these projects to bring more credibility, put on your website. Instead of saying, I'm a wholesaler or, hey, I'm a this, dude, show up to the job site. And there's some developers on here, I'm sure already, that are like, yeah, I would hell yeah. If somebody brought me a great project, I would absolutely teach them the ropes. So I think that really is the biggest opportunity that wholesalers or real estate investors that are probably using AJ's services to get in the living room and work these kind of deals, they're not thinking about creative finance in that way. They think creative finance is sub two, seller finance, novation agreements, lease options. Okay, it's that too. But what about the creative leverage that you have when you bring a project to somebody? You can wedge yourself into that deal in a really creative way to make, more money, but also just be a super duper badass by the end of the project.
Yeah, God, that's so good. So if someone's listening to this and they're like, listen, my business model is a traditional land flip. I buy it, I hold it until I can find a buyer, and then I flip it for a profit, right? Not a super
That's
complicated
cool.
model. But if they're interested in doing some of these like creative deal structures that you're talking about, but they have no idea, where do I get started? How do I even begin to think about how do I find a deal? Then what suggestions or
Email me,
advice?
dude. Email me and I will walk you through it. And what I will do is I will creatively wedge myself into your creative wedge.
Creative wedge inside of
I'll
a
take a
creative.
sliver off of your wedge that I create for you. Just email me and I'll walk you through the deal. Like the reality is everybody, this is why people like you, Kendall, is because you walk people through shit. Right? You know what's funny about land guys? I swear to you, it's 80% of land guys all have beards. Okay. Tyler Johnson, that's a good beard, by the way. Just letting you know, that's a solid beard. He has his own towel just for his beard. I can guarantee it. Okay. So, and why do I point that out? I point that out because dudes with beards typically have a blue collar background. Why is that important? It's important because we blue collar guys, we learn on the job. Okay. I didn't learn how to frame a house by watching a YouTube video. I learned how to frame a house by standing next to a badass framer and him yelling at me all day long, telling me what I was doing wrong. Right. And I imagine Tyler is probably the same way. And a lot of us blue collar guys, that's how we freaking learn. Right. So what's fun is that when somebody brings a deal to me, I'll just walk you through it. So this is what Kendall will do too, is if you guys need somebody to help you with the creative wedge, how to creatively wedge yourself into a deal, I'll structure it. I won't charge you any money up front, but I'll figure out how to splinter myself into your wedge all day long so I can walk you through the thing. And Sylvia, just so you know, I'll help you too, even though you don't have a beard. Okay.
I love that. I love that because it touches on something that you talked about right at the very beginning of this was the opportunity to collaborate and work with other people. That's one of my favorite things about the land space is that it can be a team effort where you're working with many different people to get something across the finish line. And so collaborating, learning hands-on, I think is so important because I know so many people, I fell in that boat when I first got into real estate. I needed to know the A to Z of every single thing before I took my first step. So that idea of collaborate, it's brilliant. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, you guys don't remember the song "Stop, Collaborate, and Listen"? Ice is back with a brand new edition. You guys don't remember that shit?
Words of a poet. Words of a poet.
What I always think about is I go, okay, think about the time in your life that you made a dollar without a human being involved. Can you come up with one scenario? One, just one. Give me one scenario where another human being was not involved in you making a dollar. I have never heard of somebody giving me an actual good answer to that. So if the equation is I collaborate with other people, I make money, then it would not just be a fun thing to do, it would be a requirement, right? So it's a requirement to collaborate and work with other people. And honestly, it makes it more fun. I would say when you really get sucked into the full-time real estate world, people will ask you, Kendall, I'm sure 100 times, Kendall, what gives you all this energy to keep going and being this super badass? Like, how do you keep going? How do you balance your blood? You've heard these questions 100 times, being where you are. And the answer is, you guys remember in high school when your parents had to give you a curfew because you would come home late every gosh dang Friday night? Why did they have to give you a curfew? Because you were having so much fun that you lost track of time. I would tell you that you got to collaborate with other people. It becomes so fun that you lose track of time. And all you do is you end up going, dude, I put 60 hours this week into my real estate business. And it felt like I didn't even put 6 minutes in because I was having so much fun with other people. And that's why, Kendall, you doing this meetup is so powerful as long as people are utilizing the time to connect and collaborate with other people. But it is tough. I could talk on this for hours, but there was a point in our lives where I watched, like, my daughter, she's 6. We go to a playground. Homegirl has no chill. She runs right up to other kids. Hi, my name's Corbin. What's your name? I like ponies and this, that, and the other. My gosh, damn. You imagine if every real estate investor did that at a meetup? Like,
Yeah.
just straight up walked up to people, connected. What do you do? How did it? But at some point, I don't know if it was in high school or something, it's don't cheat off your neighbor and don't do this and blah, 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 and do the work yourself. It was ingrained in us somehow, some way to be isolated in these islands when we go out and do business. And a big piece of advice for everybody is, I would say, who are your top 10 people you're spending the most time with in the land world? Who are you collaborating with? And then ask yourself, or ask them, text them and go, why haven't we made money together yet? What do we got to do to make money together? And that will change the dynamic of the relationship to be more financially beneficial than just, hey, we're hanging out learning stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally, totally. And coming from someone that is such a powerful community builder, when I hear the name Pace Morby, one of the very first things that comes to mind is that community that you've built. It's really incredible. It's a special place. And so if someone's looking to find these people to collaborate with and to create a community, but they might not want to reach out of their shell or anything like that,
Mm.
what do you suggest to those people? Like, how do they overcome either I'm too shy to do that, or like I need to compete. These people are my competition. How do you, yeah.
What's interesting, I've never looked at anybody as my competition on anything in real estate. It's so free. We are so lucky, guys. When I was a contractor, I literally was competing. Can I tell you guys something I'm embarrassed about? I had to do what every contractor did when I would go take construction estimates. I would go into a customer and be like, yeah, our budget's 50 grand. In my mind, I'm like, your budget should be 65 grand. What are you talking? But I'm not going to say that to them because the next contractor is going to come in and go, oh, yeah, I can do this for 48. So what I would do is I would have to go, oh, yeah, I think we can get around there. Not bold-faced lying, but basically being a contractor, right? And then essentially change ordering. That's the name of the game because customers don't have a freaking clue what things cost. So you could either sit there and try and convince them that they're wrong in the appointment, or you can get the job and try and work. That's how it works. Every contractor knows that's just how it works. Now, why does it work that way? Because competition is truly so fierce in construction. Because if you're not going to do that, the next guy's going to do it 10 times harder. Real estate's not like that, guys. Like, we can have 14 people. I did a deal. I assigned a mobile home like 10 years ago, and 16 people after me were on the assignment. They all were like making $3,000, $5,000, $7,000. I wasn't even pissed off about it. I'm like, how cool is that? That real estate, multiple people can make an assignment on top of a deal. And I sat down and I go, how many people can make money on one real estate transaction? The most I've ever seen was 51 people. That's the contractor, that's the escrow officer, that's the title rep, it's like everybody in the transaction, but 51 freaking people can make money on one real estate transaction. First and foremost, there is no competition, because if your competition is another operator in town, that's also a buyer for you. That's also a lender for you. That's a mentor for you. That's a homie, right? That's somebody that is going to have your back when you're in a bad situation, and vice versa. So throw the word competition out. Collaboration is my collaborators. These are my collaborators. Use the word collaborator. So to give you the answer to the specific question, what would I say to the shy people? That I would say, maybe my friend Grant Cardone, I was at a thing with him. He was like, just get over it. Don't be a silly little bitch. I'm like, bro, that's not how that works. People that are truly introverts they truly are introverted. And a lot of the best people on my teams are introverted people. Getting somebody to go from introverted to not introverted is the pathway is not calling them names. So the actual way to get people over those types of things is identify the reason why they're shy is because they feel as if they do not provide any value. Does everybody agree with that? Yeah. Anytime you've been shy to collaborate with somebody else, you feel, what value do I provide to this person? So let me answer this very specifically for you guys. Every stinking real estate investor has like 1,000 problems in their business. I promise you. You guys come to my business, even though we have 600 employees and multiple businesses and we're doing all these cool things, there's always problems in the business. In my real estate business, and I would say, and identify this in every real estate business, one of the biggest problems they have is follow-up, right? So there's always a lump of follow-up leads that nobody wants to touch, but they're sitting in the CRM saying, hey, call me, right? Check this out. This is just will help you change your mind. So I had this guy DM me like 8 years ago on Instagram, and he goes, dude, I don't know how to provide value to a guy like you, but I want to provide value to you. And I could tell like he was legit. He wasn't like one of these guys like, hey, I want to pick your brain. I'm thinking about getting started in real estate. Kendall, I'm sure he gets 1,000 times a year, right? He wasn't that guy. He was like truly like, name the thing that you need help with and I will come and help with that thing. And I said, actually, I need some lead follow-up. And if you do lead follow-up and all you do is lead management and you land a deal, I'll pay you like literally half the assignment. I'll give you a higher commission on these deals that nobody's answering than on the good leads that my guys are calling and successfully getting the low-hanging fruit. Will you be a lead manager? So I bring him in. He knew nothing what he was doing. One lead, I could tell you 20 stories with this guy, but one lead, homeboy followed up with every single week for a year. Every single week for a year. Hey, we're here. Hey, just want to let you know, hopefully you're having a great Friday. Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, just kept staying on top of this lady. This lady calls us back and says, all right, I'm ready to go. And when I sat down and I was looking at the metrics, the KPIs that month, and I was looking at like how many follow-ups, we always followed like how many follow-ups does it take to convert a lead, right? That's such an important thing to look at. I looked at this one, it was like 81 follow-ups for this lady. Freaking crazy. Wow. And I've heard of other people like Sal and Carlos, good friends of mine. I went to one of their seminars and they had shown me in their Podio, their CRM at the time. Nobody uses Podio anymore, but they were using Podio and they had this, one of their lead managers had 137 follow-ups for this one deal they got. Anyway, the lady calls us up. We line up the deal. I look at the numbers. I go, 81 follow-ups? I got to call this. I got to talk to this lady. So when we went to sign and close escrow, I actually went down to the title company to get a testimonial from the lady and go, hey, my name's Pace. I'm the actual buyer. You didn't talk to me one time. You talked to people on my team. But I'm curious, like 81 follow-ups. Like what the F what was going through your mind every time we texted you? Why didn't you just answer and go, I'm not ready yet?
Yeah.
Because human beings don't want to take the time to tell you that you're bothering them. And so she also, this is what she says to me. She goes, can I tell you why I decided to call you 2 weeks ago? And I go, yeah, I'd love to hear. She goes, it wasn't actually the follow-up. It was the follow-up, right? Because she wouldn't have reached out to us if we weren't following up. She would have called somebody else, right? So it was the follow-up, but in her mind, it wasn't the follow-up. She says, I was watching a commercial And it was a grandmother running in a field that went and ran and picked up her grandchild and gave her a kiss. And it reminded me that I just need to sell my property and move across the country and move in with my granddaughter. Guys,
Wow.
if you understood every conversion, if you understand where these conversions are coming from, and you actually, you go back and go, why did you say yes? Why did it take you this much time? Anyway, my point to all of this is this kid comes in, he made $250,000 in his first year working my dead leads, just working my old system that none of my acquisition guys wanted to work on. And all he was doing was just pinging people every Friday. Hey, this. And he would talk to some of them, and someone would say, follow up with me in a month, follow up with me in 3 months. And he would just do follow up all day long. And so guys, if you are wanting to get started in this thing, you have time. Okay. The biggest lie to people that tell themselves that have W-2s is that they don't have time. You want to convince me you don't have time, then start a business. You tell me I run a full-time business, I'm low on time. I go, okay, I believe you. But if you have W-2, come on. That's a full-time job is a part-time job for an entrepreneur.
Imagine having a complete toolkit for success right at your fingertips. That's exactly what you get with Only Land Fan School, our premium online community. For a low monthly fee, access our treasure trove of resources, the on-market deals course, acquisitions tool suite, and Dispo Secrets library. Plus, connect with fellow flippers in our active community. Whether you're hunting for deals or closing sales, Only Land Fan School has you covered with step-by-step guidance and insider knowledge. Ready to supercharge your land flipping journey? Join Only Land Fan School at olfschool.com today.
40 hours? What are you doing with the rest of your time? That's warm-up shit.
Yeah.
So I would go to a developer or somebody in town, and I would say, I can do 2 hours a day. I can come to your office. I can work from my own home. And I just want to do, what's the number one thing that nobody else in your company wants to do? I will do that 2 hours a day. Now, what that person needs, now you understand how you can provide value to them. And you go to them and go, I can do this 2 hours a day. So you're not making too significant of a commitment. And chances are you're wasting 2 hours a day doing nothing anyway. So why not give that 2 hours to learning a new skill and collaborating with somebody else? And so that's what I would do. I would find somebody in town. Meetup.com is a great place to go. Somewhere in here is a really place to go. Your guys' Facebook group, I'm sure, is a really great place to go. Best place to go, honestly, is call a title company and go, who's doing the most business in town? I'm a young guy. I'm looking to collaborate with somebody. I just moved into town. Who are your top 3 favorite buyers? The guys that bring cookies in. Like for us as a buyer here in Phoenix, we do so many deals that we feel really bad for our escrow officers that are doing the transaction. Like I have 4 full-time transaction coordinators on my team. So how do you think my escrow officer feels, right? She's going through hell. We, once a month, will drop off like a $500 Nordstrom gift card or a $1,000 travel credit to American Airlines. Like we're giving them gifts all the time. That's how deep our relationship is with our escrow officer. So if you call up 10 title companies and you say, hey, escrow officer, who's your favorite buyer? Who's the people you really enjoy doing business with? Chances are every escrow officer is going to have a Pace Morby, a Kendall, somebody that they really enjoy doing business with. And they'll go, dude, let me introduce you. They'll even text you together. Hey, Pace, meet Sam. He just walked in our office. He's looking for an opportunity. Like that literally is how simple it is. Then when you talk to a guy like a Pace or a Kendall, or even a lot of you badasses are in here. Like I could go to Tyler Johnson right now. I just look at this guy. He's got the beast living inside this guy. I just know it. If I went to Tyler right now, and I'm curious actually, Tyler, if I went to you and I said, hey, Tyler, I'm a young guy. My name's Pace. I'm just starting the business. What's the thing that you're either your business is failing at that I could help you with? Just a grunt, 2 hours a day. Or what's something that you're not doing that you wish you were doing that I could do for you 2 hours a day? And Tyler, I guarantee you have an answer to that. Say, more cold outreach. Hell yeah. Okay, so Tyler, would you be willing to show me what that means and coach me along when I screw up and maybe listen to some of my recorded calls so I can get your freaking bearded dragon feedback of where I did well and where I didn't do well? Would you do that, Tyler? And here's the thing. A lot of the new people in here, I don't know if you guys are seeing this. I can see Tyler because Tyler is smart enough to turn his camera on. I look at Tyler, I'm like, this badass wants a new guy to come and work for his company 2 hours a day. He doesn't necessarily want a full-time person because that's a big commitment, especially when you're starting out. But 2 hours a day of a guy that's, hey, I work a 9 to 5 job, so I don't need to make money right now. But if I come and work for Tyler 2 hours a day, no commission, no salary, but I make good commissions on doing outreach and something that you're not actively doing in your business, guys, oh my gosh, that's the holy grail right there. I would love to go work for a Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, that is gold. That is gold. And talk about what can you start when this virtual meetup ends? Like you could start reaching out now. That's incredible. I love that. I love that. So Pace, let me ask you, as a land lender,
Yeah.
what types of things do you see when people come to you and say, "Hey, I'd love for you to lend on my properties"? What types of things do you like to lend on? Are there things that you won't touch, or are there things that you really like? From a lender's perspective, what do you look for?
Okay, so here's what I really like. I like when people have assets outside of the land that I'm lending on that I can also put a UCC1 on or a personal guarantee on, so I'm double protected. So I really don't care the project. I care that I'm covered. So I'll do all sorts of weird things. I understand there's riches in the niches. So if I was just like anybody else, think about this, guys. Oh, freaking, I love this guy. This is dope, bro. This is the way every podcast should be, by the way. Hanging out, chilling with the homies. This is
Yeah.
great. Okay, so think about this, guys. How many times have you heard lenders or developers or land buyers go, I don't have somebody that can give me money on that land. I don't have a lender for that. Happens all the time, right?
Hmm.
Now, either A, this is a great thing for you guys to do. A, go find a lender for them and take a point referral fee. So every time one of your buyers uses this lender that you're referring over to, have that lender pay you a point as a referral. You're basically their salesperson. Don't just, there's somebody in here that referred a lender out to one of your buyers and you didn't take a rip on that loan. You should have taken a point on that loan. Okay, so write that down. That's an immediate second source of income. Okay, so go find those lenders. The other thing is I look at that and I go, what are the types of land that other people don't want to lend on? I'm going to go and do those because now I have a unique advantage. I'm the guy that everybody else will call. It's easy. I don't have to really do outreach. I don't have to do that. People just know I'm a weirdo and I'll lend on all sorts of weird shit. The main thing I really want is I want to make sure it's not always like this, but somebody has a really weird project that I don't even necessarily believe in. I will still loan on it as long as they have assets outside of it that are as equal or greater than the money that I'm loaning. Because then I go, okay, the land I'm not going to liquidate right away. It's going to take me a while, but I can go liquidate this thing. I just did a loan for a guy in Lake Havasu a couple of weeks ago. He has a boat that's worth 180 grand and a piece of real estate up in Seattle that's worth 300. And the guy only needed a $200,000 loan. So I went and leaned those other things and got a personal guarantee to give him a $200,000 loan. And he's nobody will give me a loan on this. It's a weird situation. It's small. Most lenders don't even want to look at it. It's going to take forever to do the project. I'm like, dude, I got you. Main thing is, do you have assets outside of that? If you do, I don't care what the heck I'm loaning on.
Love it. I love that. So Pace, we talked about what types of opportunities are coming down the pike in the future with this change in administration and those types of opportunities. What do you think is a topic that not many people in the land space are talking about right now that we should be talking about right this minute?
I think the number one thing that I see with land investors and developers is that they are not networking with the people at the higher level that's making all the big money. And what they're doing is they're wholesaling off, or maybe they're doing their little development. Like I have so many friends that are like, dude, I walking the streets 2 days ago. No, not 2 days ago. I was in Florida yesterday. Damn. Okay. So I was in Florida yesterday and I was walking the streets in this little town and hanging out with this guy. I met you at a Max Maxwell event in 2018. Can I tell you, my whole life has changed. I go, yes. What happened? He goes, this, this, and this. And I now have this project where I built a house, or I built a series of condos. I bought the land. I built a series of condos and I made $2 million on this build. And dude, this changed my life. And he's right. $2 million. You kidding me? That changes anybody's life. That's freaking insanely cool. So I said, what were you doing during the time you were waiting for permits or an inspection or this? What were you working on? He goes, oh, nothing. I was just babysitting the project. I'm like, you're not spending 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day at that project, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And he says, I didn't have time for any other business. I was just like, I didn't want to deviate my attention. I'm like, but why weren't you developing a relationship with bigger developers? And why weren't you going to meetups with other developers? And why weren't you spending the time opening up other doors and using your existing project as credibility? Think about this. So this is my point. My point is people that are active in the business are not using their active business to actively give themselves credibility. I walk into a meetup and there's two ways I could say something. So let's listen to A and B. A, I walk in, hey guys, my name is Pace. A couple years ago, I developed this thing and I made $2 million. Oh my gosh, that was such a fun project. Okay, that's A. B, I walk into the same meetup. Hey guys, my name is Pace. I'm working on this amazing project that I'm going to end up making $2 million on. I'm having so much fun doing it. Which person do you want to talk to? The person who did the project 2 years ago, or the person that's doing the project now? Okay. So what I see, and I watch people in the development space, is that once they get a project, they get so effing married to it that they forget that project will make them way more money by going and talking about that project in meetups and networking events and other things, because that gives you today credibility to open up other doors, other opportunities, et cetera. But what happens is they get what I call one-itis, right? They get this disease where they have one project and now that's all they can freaking focus on, and they waste that project's magical ability to give them credibility in other things. And so as land people, okay, you guys are like the people in Dune, right? What do they call them? The sand people. What are they called? You guys know? I have a live audience, by the way.
What are the
Tusken
sand
Raiders?
people?
No, that's Star Wars, bro. In Dune, you all haven't seen Dune?
Someone said Freeman?
Yeah, the Fremen. Yeah, the Fremen. Okay, Jeff Smith. Thank you. Good. I love Jeff Smith. Good friend of mine, by the way. Love you, brother. The Fremen. Y'all a bunch of freaking weirdos, right? But the thing that's interesting about the Fremen, the land people, the dirt people, they live in the dirt, right? They live in the land. They're the land people, the Fremen. They're so isolated from the rest of the whole entire universe. Like quite literally, that's one of the most important parts of their story, is how isolated they are from everybody else. And so I look at the land people, I'm like, y'all are doing deals, you're talking about deals, but you're not leveraging the deals you're doing to expand and utilize that credibility to go find friends. What friends do you want? You want the friends that are doing the DR Horton tracks, and you go, if I bring you a deal, can I get 10% of the back end? Hey, who the hell are you to ask me that question? I have a project going on right now and I'm doing this and this, instead of going, by the way, nobody wants to hear about your good old days and playing football in high school anymore. They want to know what you're doing today. We all have that friend that's, yeah, man, back in high school, dude, why I don't do that is because I drove a $500 car in high school and I bagged groceries to get my way through all the way through high school. I had nothing cool to talk about. I got to create cool stories, but I have friends, they still talk about the glory days. Again, going back to the main thing, whatever you have going on today, make sure you're leveraging the story of it when you walk into meetups or where you're at right now. Okay. Even right now, think about this. Even if you're not actively doing deals, you're actively doing something. Okay. So let's say that you hire AJ to do your lead gen. Okay. AJ is going to get so much business from this, by the way. Shout out AJ.
Yeah, AJ.
So let's say I'm doing business with AJ and she's generating leads for me. I don't have a deal yet. But what if I talk about every lead I go on? Guys, I went on this thing and I learned X, Y, and Z, and I've made more money from talking about the shit I do than the actual shit I do.
So good.
And so that's what the Fremen, the land and dirt people, by the way, I can't get Kristen to laugh today. Kristen, we got a smile out of her. I didn't get her to laugh today, but maybe one day, Kristen, I'll get you to laugh. So I would just say that what happens a lot of times is people get isolated. They don't use what they're working on to gain more credibility. Think about this. How many people in the side chat are currently generating leads, talking to sellers, negotiating deals, underwriting deals? Okay. Kristen says, I'm focused. Cool. Okay. So tell me in the side chat, everybody, what are you actively working on? Okay. Wayne says, yes, doing deals. Cool. I love that, Wayne. Good to see you, by the way. Diane says, yes, but what exactly are you doing? Hey, I'm underwriting 3 deals a day. Okay, you're branding yourself as somebody that underwrites deals. Now, guess what's going to happen is people are going to bring deals for you to underwrite. You doing the thing brings more of the thing, really, as long as you talk about it. So don't be a Fremen living under the dirt. I know you're dirty, rotten scoundrels, but okay, so I generate leads. I love that. Okay, speaking with agents, underwriting, making offers on a Texas land deal. So Bill, how many times have you told people about why you're submitting that offer? And what did you learn through the underwriting process of that deal? Are you posting in the Facebook group? Are you posting in the side chat on a Zoom? Brand yourself as the person that's doing blank. And you don't have to be the person who made $300,000 on a deal. In fact, let's say you guys walk into a library. Sorry, I could talk about this topic all day long. I'm sorry for talking so much.
Me too. No, this will be like a second podcast episode that we'll do eventually one
I
day
love it. Okay, so
about this topic.
think about this. You walk into a library full of tens of thousands of books. Do you need all those books, or do you just need one chapter in one book? You need one chapter in one book. So the reality is, a guy like me, nobody really needs me. Okay. They don't need Kendall really at the end of the day. What we've built are really cool ecospheres for people to work with each other. But whatever you're working on is somebody else's one chapter that they need. Okay. They don't need everything I know. They need your underwriting skills. They need your ability to generate leads. They need that one little thing. And you forget how much value you provide to a previous version of yourself. Previous version of yourself is going to do what? They're going to bring money to you. They're going to bring more opportunities to you. They're going to help you recruit people. They might even go raise money for your projects. They might even know a contractor, or maybe they're a builder and you're the person that bought the land. Open up your freaking mouths more about the things that you're doing on even the minute little things. Hey, I underwrote 3 deals today, said no to all 3 because of A, B, and C. Even saying no to a deal provides value to other people and why you said no. So I would say that most people in the land world do not think that way.
That is huge. I love that topic about building a brand just around what you're doing, and you're branding yourself as an active person that's participating in real estate deals. That's huge. Pace, let me ask you, what would you consider to be your definition of success? Hey there, land fans. If you're enjoying this episode and would like to see more episodes like this, please be sure to let us know by liking and subscribing below.
My definition of success is I look at my calendar of the week and I say, I love everything I'm doing for the next 7 days. That's my definition of success. I love the work I'm doing. I love the people I'm hanging out with. I love how much time I'm spending with my wife and kids. I love the new challenges I have going on, but that's number 1. Number 2, like from a high level, 30,000 foot view, I always tell people, they go, what is your definition of like, you've made it? And I go, I imagine, let's say I die, right? Or I'm on my deathbed, and everybody that I've ever changed their life or helped them in some way gets a text message from my wife that says, hey, Pace has got 3 days to live and he wants you to come visit him at the hospital. How big does that hospital room need to be based on how many people I've helped in my life? Does it need to be a 10 by 10 room, or does it need to be 5 stadiums? I wasn't put on this earth to make money. I was put on this earth to change other people's lives and be a good Samaritan for people that are stuck like I was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And so as long as I get high on helpers heroin every day, that's what I call it. I've never done drugs. I think the hardest drug I've ever done is Diet Coke. But I can imagine what heroin feels like. It's when you help somebody else with a problem that they can't see themselves out of, and helping people. And you do this all the time, Kendall. This is why all these people showed up for you today, bro. Like, freaking amazing. So I think that's the greatest definition of a good life that's been lived, is that you can't fit all the people you've changed their lives into one hospital room. You got to take over the whole hospital, or build a whole new hospital to house all the people that you've changed their lives. And so you wake up in the morning, you look at your calendar, you say, am I excited about everything that I'm doing this week? If not, I got to change some things.
That is powerful. I love that. Helper's heroin. I'm gonna coin that. You coined
and if
it.
You don't want to say heroin, you could say, when we were doing the TV show, I said helper's heroin one time, and they go, we can't say heroin on TV. And I go, okay, helper's high. Because everybody in here, raise your hand. I can see everybody. I see Angie. I see Jeff Smith. Raise your hand if you've ever gotten a helper's high and you're like, that's the greatest feeling on planet Earth.
It's the best. It's the best. There's nothing better. There's nothing better. What would you consider to be the biggest surprise you've had so far in your journey in real estate, entrepreneurship, all of it?
Biggest surprise I've had, how hard it is to find good people wasn't about the search of the outside. It was the development of the inside. And I found that you don't find good people, you attract good people. Good people want to come work for people that are doing cool things. Think about this. Do you think really awesome people that are going to come work with you or invest in you, let's say it's an investor that wants to do things with you, do you think that they're excited about doing something with people that don't believe in themselves, are not working on their self-development, are not great communicators, those types of things? No, of course not. And when people are looking to go work somewhere, they want to work for somebody that's working on themselves, right? A good leader, a good this, that, and the other. And I would say the biggest surprise I had was like, why can I not find good people? And then a mindset coach of mine was like, they're all around, bro. They just don't want to work for you. I'm like,
Oof.
why you got to tell me the truth like that, bro? I don't like that. I don't like that. That hurts. And I'm surprised at how much everything in this world is self-development. And what would I say are some of the best things to work on? Your ability to tell stories and convey simple ideas in an exciting way will attract people to come and work for you. And so I watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of TV. People think that's a waste of time. I don't. I learned story arc. I learned character development. I learned how people watch and absorb things. I watch the unspoken things that are on camera that people show and highlight, and how you can say a million words with just one scene without even a word in the actual scene. That's also self-development, is how to communicate with people effectively. Would you guys say that this is a boring podcast, or was this something that actually was like, okay, cool, this was fun. I stuck around for the whole thing. Guess what? The first podcast I ever did was dog shit. It was so bad because I didn't know what people wanted. I had to develop ways to communicate and ideas and what people really wanted. And that took a while. And then what ends up happening is you'll attract really high level people from your communication ability or your networking ability, et cetera. So that was a really surprising thing, is that I thought everything was technical. You put an ad out and you find good people and you pay them the right amount. And as long as the job description sounds really cool and the website looks really cool, you're going to get good quality people. That's not the case. So if you guys are having a hard time finding good people, it's because you got some self-development to work on. That was a scary thing for me to realize.
Yeah, that self-development piece is something I could talk about all day. Also, the whole character development, all that stuff. In another life, I judge a general effect for marching band shows. And so that's all of pacing and how do you communicate and how do you develop ideas and narratives. It's just brilliant. I love that. I love that topic. But Pace, let me ask, what would you consider to be your biggest passion or goal you'd like to achieve at this point in your life?
One of my favorite mentors, that I have a lot of mentors. One of my favorite mentors, Ken McElroy, I bring him up a lot. But Ken runs all of his businesses 90 minutes a week on a Tuesday. That's it. Okay, this is a guy that's worth $1.3 billion. They have 11,000 doors in their portfolio. They buy a lot of land, they land bank, they hold land for 6, 7, 8 years until it's time to build. They do really cool things at a very high level. He runs Robert Kiyosaki's entire portfolio, and he runs his entire business in 90 minutes or less a week. Then on top of that, here's something that's really inspiring. He went and recruited the head of philanthropy of ASU to come work for his company so he could have her give away $1 million of his money every single month. And then what he does, think about that. Homeboy has a director of philanthropy in his real estate business and gives away, think about that.
Yeah, that's
Holy
next level.
dude. I took a tour of his office like 2 years ago, and he goes, let's go look at all. I'm like, tell me all the positions. What do people do? How much do you pay them? I got to know. It's all technical stuff. And then we walk by this office of this girl on his team, and I'm like, what's director of philanthropy? You guys have a nonprofit in here? He goes, no, yeah. But like, this lady's full-time job is to give away $1 million of my cash every month. I'm like, excuse,
Come
100,000?
again.
No, $1 million. So those are the kind of things that I want to shoot for now, is like, how can I learn so I can earn, so I can return that money to where it should be? And what happens with a lot of people is, you guys, all of us, we earn money, and a lot of it goes to taxes, right? The last 7 years, I haven't paid taxes because I own a lot of real estate. So I get to do these nice cost segregations. That's another thing that sucks about land, guys, is that you're missing out on some really good cost segregation stuff. But last 7 years, I haven't paid federal income taxes. But what do I do with that money? I can either hire more people and supply more jobs, which changes a lot of people's lives, or I can donate that money and give it away. So last year we gave away $3 million, which is nothing compared to what Ken McElroy gives away. But that's something that I want to brag about. I want to brag about that, and that's okay. For those of you guys that are religious that are like, be humble. Dude, I thought being humble was like actually real. Think about if Jesus was teaching the gospel and he taught somebody the gospel, and then after he taught you the gospel, he goes, shh, don't tell anybody. Bro, he wants everybody to know the good things about life. And so I want
Yeah.
to brag about the cool, fun things that I'm doing. That's the job. You do cool things, you tell other people about it. People get inspired to do more of that thing. And that's how we change the world in our own local economy. So I'd say that's the big driver for me on a daily basis. This is a kind of fun metric. People go, what's the coolest accomplishment you've ever made? I go, my company feeds 7,500 meals a day to not only our employees, but also our employees' children. So think about this, 7,500 meals a day are eaten because of paychecks that we supply to our team members. That's freaking cool.
Yeah.
And so I look at that and I go, how do I get that to 50,000? How do I get that to 100,000? And those are the things I'm trying to accomplish and focus on now is be more efficient, become a better leader, attract higher quality team members so that we can expand what we're currently doing and change the world.
I love that. I love that. What a testimony. That's incredible. So if you could go back and teach yourself three things when you first started out,
Hmm.
maybe pace, what would they be?
Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, number one, life is a video game. Everybody else is a bunch of video characters. It's not, none of it's real.
Yes.
That's okay. So I'll tell you something really stupid. Okay. So yesterday, I have a student of mine that she's running her own 2-day boot camp on like revitalizing downtown areas. And she goes, hey, I'm doing this thing. I go, dude, let me come in and show up for you. You're doing this class. And this class isn't, not only did I have to fly to Jacksonville, Florida, but I had to drive down to Apopka, Florida, which I'd never even heard of before, to go and show up for this lady, Ann. She's awesome. Love her to death. But I'm in a strange place that I don't know, right? Which is normal for me. I'm traveling a lot. And I go rent a car and I'm driving from Jacksonville down to Apopka. And I'm at a stoplight and I see the guy on my right move forward, but it turns out he was just turning right. And I saw his movement. We've all done this. I saw his movement in his car and I gassed my car because I thought, oh shit, the light must be green. So I started driving. Now I'm in the middle of the freaking intersection, realizing, oh crap, I just drove through a red light. It didn't turn green. I just got suckered into this thing. And in that moment, I've seen other people in that situation stressed out of their mind. Oh my gosh, what did I do? Oh my gosh. All I did was, I go, oh, this is a video game. These video game characters don't care that I just did this. Put it in reverse and in reverse 10 feet backwards. It's not a big deal. And I live by that rule now. I know it seems so stupid, but the opinions of others don't mean anything to me because all they are a bunch of video game characters. That is including my mom, including my dad, including my siblings, especially my siblings. They can all kiss my ass. I couldn't care any less. I know some people don't like this language. I apologize, but I couldn't care any less about people's opinions of me. And I would say that was my biggest thing, my biggest fear at the time. Guys, if you want to write something down, here's a note you guys can take down. There's 5 big fears in the world, okay? 5 big fears, 5 main fears. And you might want to question yourself, where are you currently at in the list of fears? Number 1, fear of failure, right? It's an acronym, F for failure. E is embarrassment. A is abandonment. I don't want to make a mistake. My husband will leave me, or I don't want to lose this because my kids won't like me anymore because I lost their nest egg, or all those types of fears. R, rejection, somebody telling you no. And then S, finally, I think a lot of us are actually stuck here on S, is fear of success. I don't know what success looks like. I'll give you a good story. If you want to be a multimillionaire, but you don't know how a multimillionaire lives his life, where they go to buy groceries, what kind of car they drive, how do they manage their money, what does their freaking house smell like, how do they integrate their life, the only blueprint you have are people that are making $100,000 or less a year. That was my blueprint. So every time I went to somebody's house or I went to a mastermind, I bought myself into a more expensive room, I saw the way other people live their life. And then, because I could see it, it gave me permission to elevate myself to that level. So that's a big thing that changed my life. I'll give you a really funny, weird way that has shown up in my personal life. My wife and I have 4 kids, and I've always made good money. Making money has never been a problem for me because I work my guts out and I love working. I think that's probably the case for a lot of people here. Your biggest problem for a lot of people in this room is, when do you turn your work off? That's probably a bigger problem than somebody from a free Facebook group that's like, and you get my point. So money's never been the issue, but when you have 4 kids, you know what? I don't want to be like my mom and my dad that had 12 kids and my mom never got a nanny or never got any help, right? So I told my wife, I go, we should hire a nanny. 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 I don't know how many years I said this, but it was a lot of years. I finally gave up. One night, I get into this really high-level dinner with a bunch of high-level people. Their wives, their spouses were also there and invited. So it was like a 20-person dinner, a nice dinner, $500 a plate gala type of thing. And I'm sitting next to this guy I really look up to, and I'm chatting with him. My wife is now chatting with his wife. And I could hear out of my right ear the word nanny, nanny, nanny. They were talking about nannies.
Yeah.
On the drive home, my wife taps me on my shoulder and she goes, I got a really good idea. We should get a nanny. We should get a nanny. And as a good husband, I turn to her and I go, that's a great idea, sweetheart.
Great answer.
Okay.
Great answer.
But my point is, I didn't know what success looked like. And my wife didn't know what successful women look like and how they operated. And my wife, as a proud Hispanic woman, she looks like a white person, but she is Hispanic, doesn't want to accept any help whatsoever. How dare I not do my own laundry? Because my mom taught me that I'm a lazy pig if I don't do my own laundry. Yet, if you knew what successful people did and how they valued their time, you would go, why would I ever do my laundry? It's crazy. But unless you see that in real life, it's hard for you to see that, right? So we want success, but we don't know what success looks like. And it goes all the way down to a nanny or who's taking out the trash and who's running to Home Depot to fix the light and all of those types of things. That's a whole 7-hour conversation by itself. But so number one, I look at people and I think most people, when they're starting out, they're afraid of failure. And really, what is fear of failure? It's embarrassment. I'm afraid of embarrassment. Somebody's going to think a certain way of me. So the number one thing I would tell myself going back at a younger age is everybody's a freaking video game character. None of them are real. This is all a figment of your imagination. And just move around life as if these people don't have any opinions. I know it's not true, but it's just a weird way that I lie to myself to get myself to not be worried about what other people think of me. That's number one. Number two is that truly, your network is your net worth. It is so stupid. It is the truest thing I've ever learned, is that if you look at the 5 closest people you spend the most time with, those people you should write down their names and then circle it and write right above that circle, board of directors. Those 5 people are the board of directors of your life. You don't see it, but they show up in every possible way. And what you do is you take those 5 people, you find out how much they make. And by the way, if you don't know how much your 5 closest friends make, get new friends. Me and my friends talk about how much money we make because it's not about money. It's about the value that we exchange in the marketplace and how that shows up in our bank account. And so we want to show that to our friends. That's what real friends do, right? People that are bringing in money for their households. I want my other friends, my other people, I'm on their board of directors as well, right? So I have a responsibility to say, this is what I made. This is how I made it. Here's how we can collaborate, maybe make some money together, whatever. But I would say, look at the 5 people closest to you. And then finally, the secret to getting what you want in life is number 3. Here's the secret to what you want in life. It's really simple. Write this down. It's so simple. Everything you want in life is this three steps. Number 1, you got to know what you want. And that is, I know people that are 80 years old that still haven't figured out what the heck they want in life. Okay. So number 1, what do you want? What do you actually want? Have you written it down? Like detailed. What do you want? So number 1, what do you want? Number 2, who has it? And number 3, what do they have and how can you bring it? Or what do they need and how can you bring it to them? So go back to Tyler Johnson. I was talking about, if I'm a new dude starting in the business, I would go, okay, what I want is to get my first deal and get some traction. Okay, who has that? That's Tyler Johnson. Shoot, what does Tyler Johnson need that I can bring to him? Tyler Johnson needs some cold outreach. He needs some lead follow-up. He needs some of these types of things. So I'll go and bring that to him, and therefore it trickles up to getting me what I want, right? It is like that all the way to the highest level. Somebody asked me yesterday, have you ever been to a Tony Robbins event? And I go, no, I've never needed to. I just spend the summers with him. I spend 4 days with him every summer. I spend 4 days with Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins at Tony Robbins' home with our wife and our kids. So I don't know that I need to go to those events. Oh my gosh, how did you become friends with Tony Robbins to the point where he's texting you and calling you? I'm like, how did I? Oh, there's 3 steps. Know exactly what I want in life, find out who has it, find out what they need and bring it to them. It is, and I could give you an hour of what that meant for specifically Tony Robbins or Dean Graziosi or other people, but that really is it, Write that down. And I think that most people's biggest problem is they don't know what they want. Most people think this way, very ambiguous. They go, I want to have more, be more, and do more. The universe doesn't know how to react to that. The universe will give you what you want, but those ambiguous vibrations they're not going to go out and permeate into the universe to bring any of those things back. You got to know exactly what you want. What do you want to have more of? What do you want to do more of? What do you want to be more like? Be way more specific, and then go, who has that and what do they need? Tyler Johnson, that was a really good example. If I'm somebody just starting out, Tyler Johnson would give me the traction if I would go do cold outreach for him. It solves every problem you'll ever need in your life.
Oh, I love that. What a great framework. And again, going back to illustrate your point of so much of success and the success that you've had is around the self-development mindset piece. Every last one of those, there were no technical pieces in there. It was all self-development and how you view the world, which is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, what's incredible is like I'm on stage in Washington, D.C. yesterday, or 2 days ago, speaking on stage to, like I said, 3,500 people. And I tell people, I go, this is where I find a lot of my owner finance deals. I go to Crexy.com, I go to the search bar, type in owner finance, and by the way, guys, write that down, do that. I type in owner finance, and I go call all the people on owner finance, and I start putting them in the pipeline and I follow up with them. Okay, that's technical. I just told you where I go, what I type in, and what ends up happening is 99.9% of those people will never even look up Crexy.com because immediately they go, okay, but what if the seller says, yes, what do I do now? And so the mindset and all the things that we're talking about with the personal development and building your board of directors gives you the confidence to go and take on any task, even something like, let me call on somebody I've never called on before, and let me talk about something I've never talked on before, because I know, imagine if I'll pick on Tyler Johnson. Let's imagine I call in leads that he wants to buy. That gives me so much freaking confidence to know that if I get a yes, I got the buyer, I got the guy, right? And so I see a lot of people that they want to be way more technical in life, but life is way more about the romance of relationships. And life is so fun when you just go out there and make friends with people and just treat people right and love on people. And it's no different than we were in the playground when we were kids, just making new homies and having fun with people. That's it.
Amen. That's it. I love that. I love that so much. Pace, I want to thank you. You have given us so much gold today. I can't wait to go back and listen. I've got notes everywhere here, but I'm going to be listening to this episode at least 2 or 3 more times. So,
well, my purpose of coming on this podcast was to make sure that AJ got a lot of business. So guys, make sure.
Everyone hit up AJ at Supercharged Offers. So Pace, how can we give back to you right now? What types of connections or resources are you currently looking for?
Let me lend on deals for you guys. You guys have weird loans, email me, pacejmorby@me.com. You guys have weird deals you need to creatively leverage yourself into. Let me splinter myself into your wedge. Like, I'll help you out. I'll walk you through stuff. Let's be homies. Let's do deals. I've done deals with Jeff Smith in here. Like, my entire thing is I'm a deal junkie. I love working deals. I'm so grateful for real estate because never have I ever done a deal that's identical to any other deal. They're all snowflakes. They're all unique. They have their own unique signature. And I'm so lucky. It's like a new video game level every day, a new level I've never seen, right? And so I just want to do deals. If you guys have weird buyers that can't get funded, email me. I'll hook you up. If you guys have weird structures, you're like, I have this thing, I don't know how to structure myself into the deal, reach out to me. I know I'm very busy. By the way, what's the saying? The saying is, you want something done, ask a busy person.
Ask a busy person. Yeah.
Okay. You don't want people that aren't busy. You want a busy person. And I will never treat you like crap. I will always, if I'm busy, I say, hey, I'm really busy today. Reach out to my team. Let's get on the calendar. And if I'm not busy, I'll just get on the phone with you and I'll work through a deal with you. I'd love to do deals with you guys, lending to your people, structuring things for you, whatever you guys need.
Fantastic. We'll put all of those email addresses in the show notes in the show description. Pace, thanks so much, Pace. This has been absolutely incredible. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us and asking so many fantastic questions and just being an amazing audience. This has been an absolute pleasure. Pace, it's been an honor, sir. Thank you so much.
Kendall, you're freaking amazing. Look what you created, dude. You got to be so proud of yourself. So many other people wish they could do what you've done. You put in the hard work. You should be so proud of yourself. Everybody, are you guys proud of Kendall for doing this? It's freaking so dope. Give this man some love. By the way, does Diane work for you?
Diane? Diane
Yeah.
DeLongchamps? No, she's actually a client of mine. She's in my land coaching program. Yeah, she's amazing. She's a rock star. She just closed 6 figures worth of land deals in the last, what was it, last week he had 2 closings and netted 6 figures of profit. So good on Diane.
Okay, so I was just going to tell you, Diane gives doer energy. Like this
She
whole
is.
entire time, Dan, you give doer energy. It's like one of the greatest energies of all time. Like you are happy, you are taking notes, you are engaged, you're like typing, you're doing, dude, you are freaking cool.
She's
And
a rock star.
so Angie, you're freaking dope too. I'm gonna see you in Omaha. Sylvia, you're freaking awesome. Jeff Smith, I don't know where you went, but I love you, bro. I appreciate you. Tyler Johnson, let me thank you so much for letting me pick on your name today. Really appreciated hanging out with you guys so much. And Kendall, once again, dude, you got to be proud of yourself. I'm super proud of you. Nobody has built what you built. It's very special. Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate it. It's an honor to just get to serve this incredible group of people. I love it. Thank you guys so much. You are really special. So thank you. Thank you so much. We would
Stay
love
dirty,
to.
you sons of guns.
That's it. That's it. Stay dirty. That's our new tagline for Only Land fans. Stay dirty, my friends. We'll be back next week with another interview. Until then, take care, be safe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Later,
Mike. Thanks,
guys.
Kendall.
If you're interested in hearing from other 6 and 7 figure land flippers about how they've built and run their businesses, then check out my group, Only Land Fans, where I do a live interview each week inside the group. You can grab that link at the description below. Until then, be great, have a great week, and catch you in the next one.